spiritual growth with the accumulation of things, right? Right? And we know that the accumulation of things is particularly due to the increase in finance or money, you know? So I've noticed that a lot of folks on social media are speaking to their success because of possibly being looked at previously as someone who was unsuccessful, right? So this time around, they have the opportunity to say, hey, look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. Right? I'm getting paper. Look at me now. Right? That's the anthem that I see across the board. And like I said, I don't want anybody to get it twisted. I am all for doing things that support our well-being, that support our self-sufficiency, right? And but I keep hearing Spirit speaking to these things because I think there's more to this. There's absolutely more to this than meets the eye. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. I just have to stop right here because my daughter needs me right now. I'll be back. But with regards to seeing this wave of people speaking towards these things, you know, as if it's the end all, right? That's it. I'm being reminded of how because we have free will, it's safe to say that there are some people who are using their free will for purposes other than evolving, right? Or if it sounds better, not all of us are on the same level, right? We're not carbon copies of each other. We don't have the same journey. We haven't been through the same exact things. There's too many variables. So with that being said, right, there are some, when you hear people speaking to the elites, knowing the times we're in, how they have this information with regards to the astrological signs and ages, right? So if they already have more knowledge than common folks, they would already anticipate this age of Aquarius. And in their anticipation of the age of Aquarius, what would better serve them than to try to come in and try to, like, what I'm seeing is like trying to get some headway on it before it happens, right? So if they know people are, I've heard somebody else speak on this before, and they put it better. If they know that people are waking up, it's not that they don't know that people are going to wake up. So they got to do what they need to do to either counter that or use that to their advantage. Let's just put it that way. They have to find a way to use that to their advantage. And then if they understand that we are in the age of Aquarius and that we are going to get these downloads, right? They've already prepared for this, right? So I'm trying to think, I feel like they've already prepared for this, right? And what I'm seeing, okay, I keep losing this vision. What I'm seeing is that, okay, people, you've become entrepreneurs. That's fine. This is great. But you can't become so entrepreneurial. Like, you can't be such an advocate for, like, as if you can't be, as if the platforms you are using aren't run by other people. Like, you didn't develop YouTube. You understand? You didn't develop TikTok. You didn't develop Instagram. You didn't develop none of these platforms. So it's almost like Spirit is showing me, sure, yes, it's good that you got away from your job and you want to promote that which you're more comfortable with doing, right? Something that fits your personality and your vibe. That's great. But this attitude that kind of like resembles what celebrities do. And what do we tell celebrities? We go, okay, that's nice, but you're still in the industry. You are not an independent artist, right? Okay, folks on YouTube, you are not an independent. I know they make up these terms, but do you really understand what independent means? So I think it's not to say that you can't do what you're doing, right? You have free will. But I think it better serves us when we speak from a place of honesty and with truth. And the truth is, although you are making money on these platforms, right? You're making this money on these platforms. You don't own these platforms. That's like you renting an office space, boasting about being a business owner, but you know your ass is on a lease. So at any point in time, your ass can get kicked out and you got to find somewhere to do what you need to do. Wouldn't it be better to take it further and purchase your own office, right? So that's just to say that there's always, if there's another or better way, let's not talk like we're in that way if we're not. Do you get what I'm saying? So I have to speak on this because this is what I'm being told about myself. This is why I'm like seeking answers, because I'm like, okay, I can get on this platform. Great. And I know other people feel the same way I'm feeling. And you know why? Because they're not spending their income frivolously to splurge and stunt on other people. They are saving. They are trying to put that, they have a plan, right? Right? So it's like Spirit showing me, you just transition from one employer to another employer, in a sense. Because if you don't comply to these policies that these platforms set in place, what happens? You hear people complaining all the time. They're getting upset, right? Because of the reality of the situation. You may be trying to implement what it is that you enjoy, what it is that you're passionate about. But if it is not in alignment with what they agree with, they can make your situation more complicated, right? You hear people talk about this all the time. My subscribers said they never unsubscribed from me, but yet they were unsubscribed, right? My followers never said they unfollowed me. They were unfollowed. Like, all this stuff like that that's going on behind the scenes, what they was doing in society, they gonna be doing in the digital world. And it's going to be much more subtle now because you don't know the person behind the screen that works for Google, that works for these companies. You don't know their beliefs. You don't know their biases, right? They could be targeting you because they seen some video you made, and now all of a sudden this person has a personal vendetta against you, right? You don't see these platforms coming out with campaigns saying, hey, we're against this. We are doing our due diligence to make sure none of our employees are behaving in this manner. You don't see them coming out doing that like they do in the workplace, where they say this shit is not tolerated and HR will kick your ass out if they find out you're doing these things. You don't see these social media platforms doing that. What they're doing is getting away with a lot of stuff. You have all types of people behind the screen who are implementing their racisms, their biases, all these things behind the scene through these positions. And you don't see not a one campaign talking about how this is going to be handled and taken care of. Right? So I think with this, I think it's just like a soberness of mind to remember these things so that you don't get beside yourself and think that you're beyond reproach, because that's what Spirit be telling me. It doesn't take away from all the positivity in my life. It just helps me to know as I continue to grow and move forward and see these things advancing before me, please know that there's nothing new under the sun, right? They're just going to revamp it, repolish it, repaint it, and present it as something else, and it's the same fucking thing. The same thing. It's probably much more easier for them to hide what they're doing now because a lot of people are remotely working. You don't see what's going on because you're not in the office, right? They can play with your fucking interface and you wouldn't even know it, right? You could be in some little corner. You could have been put in the corner by YouTube if you have a channel and you wouldn't even know it. You don't know who they've blocked you from others from seeing you. You don't know how they encrypt that. You don't know that technology, how they're able to do that and separate you and make sure that other people don't see your content. You don't know what they're doing on the side. So I don't get distracted by people who are boasting and the fact that they're making a whole bunch of money on YouTube. That's great. I applaud you. But at the same time, I hope you were putting away this money and being smart about it, because if folks ain't evolving, I don't give a fuck if it's the age of Aquarius or not. If people are not evolving, they are subject to low vibrational energy, and they are subject to do things that lack integrity. Period. You know, not everybody is on the same wavelength. You want some more juice? Okay. Apple juice. Okay. So I kept talking because Spirit just kept pouring it out. This is going to be good. So pretty much, I think the title of this video that I'm going to be working on is going to be called Don't Gaslight Spirit. Okay. Because really, I think by boasting in these things, right, it's like you're dismissing the things that Spirit would also bring to your attention, which is your blind spots, right? In love for you, Spirit will show you your blind spots, right? When you underestimate, you're showing, okay, this is what I'm hearing, and you speaking as if the platforms you're on are like, you're speaking as if they're owned by you, as if they can't wake up one day and say, hey, you know what, we're going to cut the plug today. We got something else going on. You never know what's going on, you know, and should they, and then not even that's the extreme. If it's even them wanting to change something, like I was mentioning before, or feeling as though what you're talking about isn't in alignment with what they believe, they can censor you, right? And so with you not acknowledging these things, right? Because there are people who do, right? There's people who do. There's people who say, hey, I'm not going to talk about this because I know it's going to give me a strike or it's going to cause me problems, so I'm not going to do that. Why? Because I realize that this platform is not my own. right? It's not that I don't believe in what I believe in. It's just that I know that I'm using somebody else's platform. And so it's like being in somebody else's house. You can't go in somebody else's house and tell them what the fuck to do. If you got a problem with them, go to your own fucking house. Build your own platform, right? And I think as long as people are boasting in other people's work, we will never have anybody come out and create their own shit, right? Because you're always going to be thinking theirs is sufficient, right? I will go through the arguing, the petitions, and the requests that I need to request to keep fighting to use somebody else's shit when they don't even want me there. Sorry, I had to stop and listen to something real quick. So yeah, in doing this, you underestimate others, right? In this case, you underestimate someone who doesn't wish to see you evolve. They don't want to see you evolve. We can honestly say that, because if they did, they wouldn't be trying to suppress your free will, right? And in the effort to appease other people who may be supporting them, right? Because they feel like if they don't give these people what they want, they lose their support. So they're going to censor you and shut you up, because these people are actually on the back end supplying these platforms with whatever it is that they need to do what they do, right? The moment that changes, then maybe how you feel or what you need may be important if you become an asset to these people, right? It's just like in your life. All these tarot readers say this all the time, and they share these with people who are stuck on getting other people to love them and shit, right? They want to be in love. They want this guy to love them and all this other stuff. And it's just like, man, like, how are you going to request the space of another, and that other person doesn't seem to think of you as an asset in their life? Even if you would be, and they're just blind to that, the concept is they don't see you like that, right? These platforms don't see particular people as an asset, as a need, right? And therefore they treat you however way they want to treat you, because they don't think they need you, right? Or they need you and they're pretending like they don't need you, and they're playing narcissist, right? And projecting and making it seem like you need them, when in fact they wouldn't exist if a lot of these people pull the plug on their channel and leave, right? So the reason why they're the people who are providing them with support, these promoters or whatever, is because they see how they are able to grasp so much attention from society. If society stops paying attention to YouTube, then these agencies and these companies will pull the plug on their advertisements and stuff and pull their money. Because they're like, people are not paying attention to you no more. We're going to go over to TikTok. Because everybody's over at TikTok, so we're going to start putting our money over to TikTok, because that's where the people are paying attention to. Do you see what I'm saying? So you got to get out of this habit of boasting or celebrating too soon, right? Or not even too soon, celebrating with partiality in mind. Like, you don't see the wholeness of it all. You're like it's like, great, yes, it's fine, but do you see the whole picture here, right? like I said, hopefully if y'all getting money like y'all say y'all are, I hope you putting it away. I hope you doing something with it, because to pretend like YouTube ain't an employer, right? Like you just didn't move from one employer to the next, because you are reliant on them to post your videos and have people into you. Or even if you left them, you would go to another place. You would still have to, you would need some type of service, Wix, GoDaddy, you would need some type of service to make and unless you got into the business of creating your own. Right? So it's such a wide and bigger picture here. And I just think I just feel like it's a blind spot. When I hear people talk like that, it's a blind spot. Okay, so I'm sorry, I had to look at something again and read something, but that's what it's saying. Like, this is what I'm hearing. Like, I'm serious. It's not to like belittle, because I think there's an anxiety there. I think when you have people who get in these positions, which is great, you've done the work, great, awesome, but are you really speaking from spirit? Are you really speaking from source when you talk like this? Like when you talk as if nobody gets on like you, then they not chosen, God didn't look at them, all it just becomes all this madness, if you will. Right? That's why I said people be gaslighting spirit. How you gonna gaslight spirit? Right? How you gonna gaslight and cap? You gonna cap? You capping on? Yeah, that's the better word. You capping on the spirit. Stop capping on spirit. Because spirit's like, yeah, of course, nothing happens without God's approval and everything like that, But how you capping like that? Like, how you capping? I don't think God gives anybody access to certain things to go turn around and then stomp on somebody else. Like, literally stomp on them, like stunt on them. Like that, I don't think that's not the spirit doing that. Right? That sounds more to me like hurt and pain from how people did you, right? And now you turn around doing it to other people. You're like, haha. Right? You should have believed in me. Should they have believed in you? Or should they have believed in themselves? Right? So they wouldn't neither be moved by what you do or what you choose not to do. Right? Because they would realize that you have free will and that it has nothing to do with them. Man, I guess I gotta work on this, because I just feel like I said, I feel like people is capping. People is capping on spirit. People is capping on spirit, and you're making it all about money. You're making it all about money. And I feel like I said, I feel like certain people know that the age we're in. They know that we're going to be getting downloads. They know that this is where there's no excuse, right? So why not give, everybody this opportunity to, like, I don't know. I got to work on that. I feel like I got to work on that, what I'm trying to say with that there, because it just seems like I feel like people just capping on spirit. They really are. Like, they really are capping on spirit. Right? Because it's almost like you're fitting into the scenario of the remix that they created with the canon. like, we know, no doubt we know that there are some sacred, wise words in the canon, right? Because this is knowledge or information that was taken and revamped the way man wanted to revamp it to his advantage, right? So you're pretty much feeding into the storyline that they wish to narrate, but it's not actually the proper interpretation. Because the interpretation of anything comes with the spirit. It doesn't come with man's, it doesn't come with man's aggression for these things, right? These things are open up to you as you level up and you embody the essence of that vibration. There's no cheat code to this. You have to embody the frequency in order to get the wisdom of that frequency. Yeah, so I feel like it's really strong because I've heard somebody share that with me too. Like, when you have people that are getting millions and billions and all this dollars, and it's you're doing what you do, but do you need it? Do you need $1 billion? What you gonna do with $1 billion? What do you need with $1 billion? There's people, mathematicians, who can break down like how everybody would be okay if certain people with these billions would just split up what they have and everybody would be good, right? If we were to live in the fiat environment, if you will. The matrix, if that's what you're doing. But it's I don't know. It's amazing. It's amazing to see, because like I said, they already have initiated this hierarchy, to where people automatically get certain levels of respect because they fit the status quo. It's not because they have actual integrity. They fit within the status quo of the system. Alright? Because we know there's white collar criminals. So there's no, yeah. So, yeah, I think Spirit wants to really take it there and clarify that, because people, it's almost like the people's, what do they call it? The people's advocate. Spirit advocates for the people on behalf of God because of the God code within them. Spirit is not a dictator. My thing is, can people get to a point where they say to themselves, can people get to the point where they can honestly say to someone who's making a lot of money, I don't care if you're making a lot of money, what you're doing is wrong. I don't care if you're popular or if you have this much followers. I don't care how, the thing is, I don't care, you got to get to a place where you just know that you can't be bought. I don't care. I don't care how many minions you got backing you up. If I feel like what you're doing is wrong, I'm not going to back you up in that shit, period. We got to get to a place where you know that you know that you know. That's why I say, folks know what the hell I'm talking about. Because they do this with celebrities all the time. All the time. Right? Where they'll say, oh, that person sold their soul. And, oh, they do this and this and that. I ain't got no respect. I don't got to respect them. Respect them for what? Even when they try to put Cardi B and stuff into the politics. The Democrats try to, you know, bring the celebrities into the fucking politics. These people, the people like, I don't give a fuck about these people. Like, what do they do? Because they sing a tune. Now all of a sudden I'm supposed to respect what the fuck they gotta say? No, that's not how it works, right? You gotta earn respect, right? You gotta earn the people's respect. You don't get out here and just be all willy-nilly with this shit and just be like, oh, by the way, because I got some minions, because that's what they are. Because I got some people that don't think for themselves and they allow me to think for them. I'm supposed to respect you? Get the fuck out of here. Spirit ain't playing. Some people getting a little bit ahead of themselves. A little bit ahead of themselves. Right? And like I said, I don't people's capping. They capping. They doing the same thing the people in the church did. They doing the same thing. It's just on a different, it's just different. It's packaged differently. But it's the same type of spirit. It's the same type of spirit. It's just packaged differently. It is. But I get it. I get the, if somebody was terrorizing you and trying to hurt you and abuse you, and then your life turned around and you were able to move away from that and make a living for yourself, and you have a beautiful life, and your life is not, now in the present, is not reflecting what people, that toxicity that they wanted to project onto you, kudos. Congratulations. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. But there's a fine line between that and somehow making it your mission. I mean, it's weird. It's freaking weird as hell. Like how some people act. It's no difference than what like Hollywood depicted when people get money that ain't ready for it. You see how people get when you see people's true colors when they get money and they ain't ready for that shit. Right? You be like, wait a minute. Who this person? Harpo, who this man? Who this woman? Huh? Who is this woman? Because we don't know this woman. Where'd she come from? Right? So it becomes a you see the really, yeah, I could picture that. I could picture like, it's like with parents, like if their child becomes like a superstar or something, or makes it to the NFL or something like that, some of them don't know how to act. They act like a complete goddamn fool. Just act like they untouchable now. It's just, you just rude and nasty. Do you know who my son is? Do you know who my daughter is? Do you know that they're the district attorney? They just act a goddamn fool. They act a fool. No decorum, right? Now all of a sudden they want to harp on somebody else's accomplishments, right? The sober-mindedness isn't there whatsoever. As to say, see, when you've done the work, right, from the inside out, there's just this level of sober-mindedness that you get where you know, like, listen, this ain't about me. This ain't about me. This has never been about me. Trust. Because I didn't even get exactly what I wanted. Trust, there was other things I was gunning for, but I didn't get it. Right? I got detoured and, bulldozed and pushed in certain directions just based on certain experiences in my life that just said, no, you can't go, no access, you're not doing this. And you're like, what? What's happening? I'm trying to put my best foot forward. I'm trying to do this. And they're like, no, this is not a part of your journey. You heard somebody talk about this, but this is not for you. We're not going to let this happen. And that's when people mostly get upset, because they're sizing them up against somebody else's experience. They're looking at somebody else's experience and they're saying, God, why not me? Why not me? You signed up for a different experience. That's why. You just don't remember that shit. You don't remember that shit. You signed up for a different experience. This is why somebody, when they tell you about certain things that happened to them, it came with so much ease. Yeah, and like for me, it came with ease after I stopped fighting and kicking against the current. That's when the ease came. And some people went with that ease more so than others, which is why they come off like they got it easy. Because they really was just being true to who they are, and they wasn't going outside their lane with things. They're like, nah, I'm not into that. And they were okay with that. They weren't hard on themselves about not being into something that everybody else was doing. They just said, that's not for me, and they kept it moving in the direction that was for them. Right? Meanwhile, you have stubborn ass people like myself, where spirit just had to say, no. What are you doing? You know good and well you felt that anxiety when you was filling out that application. Why are you even going there and doing that? This is not for you. Right? And it pisses people off when they hear people talk about their journey too, because how excited they were. Right? Right? When they made certain connections. And they really think it's favor. When it's really just people believing that they should have what they deserve, meaning they should be happy in what they're doing, right? And what's true to them, you know? A lot of stuff I think I was doing was just a means to an end. It was like, oh, I got to take this route to get here. It wasn't what I wanted to do. It was what I felt I had to do. It's the difference, right? So somebody like myself could get upset with looking at somebody else who's like, no, I took the path that I love. Like, yeah, they said, you know, artists are starving, but art is my love. I love art. And one day, finally, somebody saw that value in me, and they bought my painting for, you know, $20,000. And that was just the beginning, right? So you hear stories like this because certain, like I said, people believe that they deserve to be happy. They deserve to be doing what it is that comes easy to them, what they enjoy. And then you got people like myself who act like myself that'll get upset. Like, well, why didn't it work out like that for me? Because you was kicking against the grain. Because you was kicking against the current. Right? The moment you relaxed yourself and said, okay, wait a minute. I'm going to allow these people's experience to show me that it is possible to stick with what you, I don't want to say no, or do what it is that makes you happy, and things can work out for you because of the law of attraction and how vibration works. You're keeping your vibe high when you're doing what works for you. So you're bound to pull in people who are going to support that. Because it's all over you. Right? It's all over you. This is why some people look at rappers and all this other stuff or whatever. Yeah, some of them, they've gone to the deep end. Right? But there's others who, like, they were really doing what they were doing because that's what was real for them. That's what they felt like they needed to do. They wasn't trying to act like somebody else. They may have been inspired by somebody else, but they wasn't trying to be somebody else. Right? So I think that's the transition I feel like is happening today that I see. That a lot of people spend time on certain areas of their life because they feel like they have to do that. I have to do this. I have to. Do you? Because it seems like there's a lot of people coming out of the woodwork now showing us that we don't. Because they just sticking to what it is that they love to do, and that's it. That's all. They'll say, you'll hear people say that. That's all I know. That's all I know. I live, breathe, and eat that shit. I remember the times when I was a little girl when I would say, I remember the times when I said I wanted to be a teacher, I wanted to be a nurse, but then in actuality, I love to dance. Music, dance, and speaking. Okay? Those things, like, okay, God didn't give me the gift of singing. Okay? I don't have that gift. Okay? But speaking and speaking truth and stuff like that or whatever, like, I've always been that kid. Yeah, that everybody was trying to shut up, right? Because I would see things and I would point it out, and motherfuckers be like, "You too young to be talking like that," right? And then there was art too. So, but dancing was the main thing. I love to dance. I love to entertain and dance, right? I don't know if that was a part of the programming, to tell you the truth, like what I was exposed to as a kid, but as I grew older, that was just what I found to be liberating. I couldn't wait for school dance. Like, everybody knew me to be to myself and stuff. Let me show up for a goddamn dance, school dance. That was a whole new Debbie came out. You'd be like, where's she been? You know, folks be like, oh, you're so much fun. Yeah, when I'm doing what the fuck I love. When I do what I want to, yeah. When I'm expressing myself the way I want to express myself, yeah. You know, in certain settings, you just see that. People will say this too, and y'all want to call it possession and all this demonic shit and all this or whatever, whatnot. When maybe we need to stop and thinking maybe that people are so under the influence that they have to hide who they really are and have to call this other thing something else, because they can't actually be themselves. They can't be themselves. So they got to create an alter ego. I got to create an alter ego now because society makes me feel like if I was to say this is how I really feel, I'm in the wrong somehow. Right? I don't know. We veered off with that one, but yes, it just seems like folks, they're saving face. They're saving face. Nigga, you know you want to dance. Why do you think like movies like Sister Act and all that stuff made so much money, right? Because it's almost like it's tapping into people and it's saying, no, you really don't want to be like this. You really don't want to be this secluded person who's sitting here trying to be all holier than thou. You really want to enjoy your life, right? You don't want to be all stiff and angry and frustrated all the time, right? And here they come with Sister Act. You get the black woman to get in there. Now all the nuns is dancing and singing like they really want to sing, right? And here you go with the church teaching us at that time, like, you know, some of them could relate to that because they have that more emotional way of expressing themselves they express their spirituality, right? Or their religion, let me put it that way. They have a more expressive way to express their religion. But people who are more might have a problem with some nun out there riffing it and doing about 10 runs before she get to her next word. Like Mariah Carey. Like, they might not want to hear all that. They're like, okay, calm down. Calm down. We don't want to hear all that, man. And they have a right to be who they are, too. You just keep your little stiff ass right over there. With you and your stiff friends. That's fine. Just do what you gotta do. You like the quiet. Go ahead and be over here and be quiet. Right? So, it's I think people just need to stop pretending. Stop pretending and acting like spirit ain't gonna tell on you, because it's gonna tell on you. Your vibration precedes you. Your energy precedes you. You can't hide that shit. You definitely can't hide it from people who are being real. Right? Because the ones who are being real can pick up on when they feel that from a person. that's just the benefit of being authentic and true to yourself, is that you can pick up when people are being like kind of like, that sounds like it hurts, right? Or that sounds miserable, right? And the movies, most of the movies we watch like that be fun to watch, right? Because it always be the one that turns up, that brings out the best, is someone who's like very shy, and they're saying, nah, I know you ain't shy. You just ain't in the right environment. Like I gotta see, you just not in the right environment right now, right? And then they end up bringing out that part of them, or even bringing out something in them for them to come to a balance, right? They don't have to be exactly what this friend wanted them to be, nor do they have to be that person who they thought they were. They find a happy medium, right? But yeah, I think that's good.